Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center, man. So as you can see by the title, I'm going to be doing kind of a brief breakdown of something. I'm trying to figure out how I'm going to title this. I think I'm going to title it "The Harsh Reality of Number One Picks." So basically, this is how this idea came about. So I was at work the other day, and me and one of my associates, we was talking, and we was just going back and forth, just playing mental gymnastics with each other on, like the situations when number one draft picks in terms of quarterbacks coming in and people expecting it to be an immediate effect. So like you look at the Caleb Williams. So I made a video and I seen that the analysts off Speak, Shady McCoy, Joy, H. Iko, however you pronounce his name, and James Jones, they were saying, does Caleb Williams get a pass? And what they were meaning by that is that, by him being a number one pick, we already know that the expectations of his production is high. Everybody's expecting him to be the savior for the Chicago Bears, to pull them out of the rut that they've been in over the last few years. But it kind of puts an unrealistic expectation on him to where it's almost like it's either he, and I wouldn't even go to the extent say the Super Bowl. I would say that he would have to make a divisional round appearance to a degree, depending on some of the pressure. I don't even think that a wild card would be, in terms of in terms of the success as an organization, making the wild card, making the playoffs, period, would be a benefit. But I'm saying the expectations that people are putting on this guy, and some of it he's doing to himself, making some of these demands, but it's almost like it's going to be, it'll never be enough that he can do to please everyone. So I was just looking at the NFL Top 100. I was watching that from beginning to the end, and I just seen the clip. So Shady McCoy we was talking about the Dak Prescott situation with Dak getting paid, and Shady McCoy was just saying that Dak deserves to get paid, because you got people like Trevor Lawrence and guys like that that's getting paid, and they haven't accomplished as much as Dak. And then I seen a clip from in the NFL Top 100 with Bryce Young, with Harrison Smith from the Vikings. I was watching that particular episode with him, so I got to thinking. So I was like, you know what? A lot of times we look only at the surface and we don't analyze everything that's underneath. We just look at the top. So the thing is this. So to go to what Shady said, I get what you're saying. Obviously, yeah, Dak has accomplished much more in the sport than Trevor Lawrence. But you got to understand one thing. For one, Dak has been in the league longer than Trevor Lawrence. And for two, Trevor Lawrence was a number one pick when he came into the league. Dak wasn't a number one pick. Dak came into the league as a second string and eventually got his opportunity and took off from there, but, due to an injury. But it wasn't like he was drafted with the intention of saying, okay, this is your team this year, take over. See, with Trevor Lawrence, he came in with those expectations. So you got to think about it. This is what I want you guys to understand, viewers to understand. And people who know, but the ones who don't, I'm going to try to give y'all an understanding and a breakdown of what we're saying. So when you look at the history, I'm talking about from 2024 up into his earliest memory that you can remember since you've been watching. Look at the number one pick, quarterback-wise, right? And think about this. To get the number one pick, it's a few things that can either happen. Either A, you can trade for him, and you can trade and potentially get a number one pick, but you would have to be giving up something of value to get it. You know what I mean? And what I mean by value, you have to almost be willing to give up a Mahomes, a Josh Allen, a Justin Jefferson, a player of that magnitude in order for somebody to give you a number one pick. So if you can't get it that way, what's another way you can get it? By purposely tanking. Now, I don't know how many people who are going to do that, but that's another way you can get it. I don't think a lot of teams are doing that. So what's the third way then, Rob? The third way is being the worst team in the NFL. So when you're the worst team in the NFL, man, I guarantee it's a lot of categories that you are the worst in. You probably be the worst in a lot of categories offensive wise. You know what I mean? So you're taking a young player who's just coming from college, and he's coming from college, whether it's from SEC, Big Ten, Pac-12, whatever the case may be, he's coming from college. And it's a difference. Even if you're playing in SEC, the pinnacle of college sports, is still a difference because now you're dealing with professional players all across the board. If I'm a quarterback and I play for the SEC, right? Let's just say we're going up against Alabama, hypothetically speaking. It may be 3 guys off the Alabama defense that's going to the NFL that year. You see what I'm saying? But when I go to the NFL, those 3 guys, the Alabama, it's 11 of those guys now because this is the pros. So in the game is much faster. And I'm coming from a system that I was familiar with here to a system that might be completely different than what I'm coming into. So it's like when these guys come in and they don't pan out the way that we expect them to pan out, it's like you can't put all the blame on the players. You got to look at the situations, man. Like you got to look at, like I say, Brady is a guy who's made me really look deeper into a lot of things when we talk about when we talk about success in terms of players wise. You know, even teams, not just players, but enough. I don't think that enough blame gets put on the coaching. You know what I mean? Because coaching is everything. Coaching is everything. So here, and let me break this down to you once again, how coaching is everything. So let's just say you get Trevor Lawrence. You draft him number 1. Bam, boom. You got receivers right now. We trying to find receivers. We don't got no receivers that we're confident in lining up and saying, hey, we gonna lead. If they put you out there on the island, we're gonna attack that the whole game because we know that you're gonna win that battle. We don't know that. You got to think about it. Think about the speed of the NFL. So if this is my number 1 guy and they're playing press, right? It's only going to be so much time a quarterback got to look at this guy. So if the quarterback is looking at this guy and he's getting pressed off the line of scrimmage and he's not getting no separation, I got to go here to my second option or possibly my check down. And an inexperienced quarterback, when the pocket start collapsing, they force plays. That's how you get interceptions, or that's how you get strip sacks running and trying to make something happen, or intentional grounding calls. So you got to think about this. So a good coach would say, okay, let's go to the drawing board. Let me get my offensive coordinator, even our quarterback's coach. Let's see anybody offensive wise, and let's put something together because we understand one thing, right? We don't have the receiver talent necessary to separate from coverage, to break away from the DBs, the DBs in the NFL. So now we have to make up schemes designed to free them up through schemes. And that's what Kansas City did a lot of this past season with them. When you look at it, Kansas City didn't have no top receivers like that. Kansas City probably didn't even have a top 20 receiver. Like, that's how confident I am other than Travis Kelce, he's a tight end, though. I'm talking about receivers. They probably didn't even have a top 20 receiver, but Andy Reid and the offensive OC was able to come up with schemes, and that's so they're going to show you how good Andy Reid is, too. But they were able to come up with schemes to free the receivers up so we don't have to rely off of their separation, which we know they're probably not going to get too much of. So, you know what I mean? And to get back onto that, so you got to ask yourself, did the organization put things in play that ensured that this person is put in the best possible position to be successful? You got to ask yourself that. You know what I mean? And if the coaching is not able to do that, then obviously, you know, the success rate is going to be minimal. Like, that's just like, even like I say, you look at over the years, you know, you look at how they kind of put a few more pieces around Trevor Lawrence and look what you got. You got to the playoffs, you ran up on them, you know, obviously they had a comeback victory over, I think it was the Chargers, LA Chargers, but then they ran up on the Chiefs and, you know, they ended up losing to the Chiefs. But that was good momentum, and I know he struggled this past season, but like I said, that's not always on him. And then it's football. Who knows, man? It could have been injuries and things of that nature, so you got to always take that into consideration. Even, I'm a Saints fan. Look at Bryce Young. I can't pass judgment on Bryce Young right now and say that he's a bust or he's a bum or he's not good, because you got to look at the situations that he was brought into. You know what I mean? And we got to understand that sometimes. So it's like we have to be realistic with the expectations. Cool. Do you have people who are able to come in? Joe Burrow. But we got people who are exceptions of the rules. You know what I mean? Not everybody is able to come in and have an impact on a team just that fast. I mean, you look at other sports, you know, obviously we've seen Larry Bird do it with the Celtics. You know, how piss poor the Celtics was the year before Bird got there. Bird come in and turn the organization around in a year. And, you know, I think they might have only won 20-some games before Bird came. After Bird came, they ended up winning 60-some games and make the playoffs. You see what I'm saying? But everybody's not able to make that transition. You got some guys that are just the exception of the rule because they have, you know, phenomenal leadership skills, or they just ahead of the curve in a lot of different ways. You know what I mean? But, you know, that was just something I wanted to just briefly touch down on. Let me know what y'all think in the comments, because I think I'm going to do a part 2, and I'm just going to dive a little deeper into the history of number 1 picks. But this was me just kind of getting my feet wet with it. But that is it for this video, man. If you guys did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, click that post notification bell. That way you'll be notified every time I upload. Also, if you want to share them too. You know, hey, I appreciate all the love and the support, man. I really do. And like I said, make sure that bell is turned on, because just like I said every single intro, just like the GOAT Drizzy Drake say, man, I got these videos coming back to back. I'm out this thing, and I'll see y'all in the next video. Peace.